Welcome back, everybody, to Short Stadium here on the campus of Hofstra University. We are at halftime. Sayville leads Wantagh 21-6. With us now is Sayville coach Rob Haas. And what did you tell your team during halftime? Because you're up 21-6, but you went into the half with a sour note.
Well, as you can see, Wantagh can score from any place on the field, and they're a quick strike team. We played really well the first half. We gave up one big play, but you know what? There's a whole nother half to play, and we feel pretty good about our chances.
You seem to really just be dominating on the line right now, and I think that's where you guys have been able to really exploit this Wantagh team.
Well, we felt coming into this game, that's where we were going to be able to succeed, was up front. Our guys from tackle, we felt had a little edge, but like I said, there's a whole half to play, and anything can happen.
And what did you say to your team at the half?
Basically just, keep your heads up. We made two mental mistakes. We, instead of throwing the ball away, we took the sack, which cost us 3 points, and, we got beat on a coverage mistake. But other than that, we told them to keep focused and do what we're doing.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. When we return, we'll have the start of the second half. Conference 3 championship game between Sayville and Wantagh here on Telecare.
Today's Landers, along with Tom Howard, Ed Ingles, Dan Lippenholtz, Jovial Joe Giannotti, the Wizard, along with Craig Filizzola, Steve Filizzola, joined in the booth by Dr. Frank Segretto from Elite Sports Forum, and of course great orthopedist and has a great place out there in Ronkonkoma. Don't forget their show every Wednesday night at 9:30. You'll see highlights, and coming up this week you'll see the Long Island All-Star football game that was played here at Hofstra. The Conference 1 teams and the Conference 2 large school played a great game, and you'll see that right here on Telecare Wednesday night at 9:30. Let's take a look at some of the halftime stats, and standing by is Craig Filizzola. Craig, how about the numbers?
Well, the start of the game, DeLuca for Sayville, 28 carries, 126 yards, 1 touchdown, and Mayo, 5 carries, 19 yards, is trying to lighten the load for DeLuca. Cimello, passing 2 for 4, but 82 yards and 1 touchdown. Both passes were completed to Messina. As for Wantagh, Caracappa, 4 for 7, 86 yards. They did have a touchdown pass, 72 yards to Mascarella, but that was about it. As rushing yards, look at that. That's been a key. Sayville, 160 rushing yards, and Wantagh only 24. And first downs, here's even a bigger key. Well, Sayville has 12 first downs. Wantagh only has 1.
Ed Ingles?
Well, Barry, at the top of the broadcast, I mentioned that the Wantagh running backs, Rob Smith and Mike Procida, had rushed combined total 4,000 yards the last 2 years. In the first half of this ball game, they rushed for 24 yards. You're not going to win this game, Wantagh, unless you develop a running game. You cannot pass your way to victory. You need to establish the running game, as Sayville has, to win.
Well, Dan Lippenholtz was talking to some of the coaches a little while ago, and we'll have some word from Dan in a little couple of moments. Again, thanks to our great sponsors locally out in the Sayville area, Bayport House Restaurant, owner Bill Succo, and Christopher's Pizzeria and Restaurant, Montauk Highway, Blue Point. The Iavaroni Brothers over in Wantagh celebrating its grand opening in the Cherrywood Shopping Center. Century 21 Prevent Realty, Jerusalem Avenue, Wantagh. Jim Dandy Cleaners over there in Wantagh. End Zone Sports, and the Apollo family does a great job there. And Alco Construction. So we're just underway here. And let's see, Guglielmo comes up, goes right by him again. Mascarella will be forced to go back to the goal line. And as he sat in the end zone, let's see, it is a momentum carried him in. Yep, referee Craig Marshall right there. It's going to be another 1-yard line situation.
And Barry, these are things that cannot happen in championship football games. Keith Sack has to be pulling his hair out. You have to catch the ball in the air. You can't make mistakes in the kicking game. You talked about what you're going to do when you get the ball in the second half. Well, he never talked about what we're going to do when we have it on the 1-yard line in the second half. So he's back in trouble again. And this is something their offensive line needs to step up big time right now.
Well, we talked about the need to run the ball, and certainly 99 yards. They've got to establish the running even to get room to throw the ball.
Joe Guglielmo, who's returned a couple of kickoffs for a touchdown, was the guy that ball went right by him. And Mascarella, he gambled there, Eddie, and the ball ran right by him, and he wasn't able to come up with it, and it put Mascarella in a real bad situation as Smith just bangs out a yard or two here.
Well, Joe Meal came in, the middle linebacker at 5'9", 190. He submarined the whole play and blew it up, and Meal's very good at doing that. Came with 68 tackles coming into this game.
Eric Caracappa, one of the top players on Long Island. As you see coming into the ball game, Torres with a play from Keith Sachs. Be interesting to see if they're able to make some adjustments here. Procida and Smith line up in the backfield. In the end zone. Don't want a safety here, which would give them a 23-6 lead, a 17-point lead. Caracappa to air it out, looking for Muscarella. He's out there, makes the catch. It's a first down. Sheridan defending. He laid that ball out beautifully, Eddie, so it couldn't be intercepted as he laid it out to the far side.
Well, Rob Haas said before we talked to him that he felt that the quarterback on Wantagh, Caparano, was probably the best-looking quarterback he had seen in a long time, and he was throwing a little bit into the wind, but laid it out there. When you got a receiver like Muscarella, he'll go for the ball, too, and wonderful hands.
Yeah, very good job there by Caracappa putting it out, but I was a little surprised the defensive back sat and waited. He didn't attack the ball. You can attack the ball. He even tried to bat it down. Sheridan allowed Muscarella to catch the ball.
Muscarella, 2 catches for 100 yards, 33 catches for 921 yards, and 14 touchdowns. Caracappa will go to the air again, airing it out down the sideline with Sheridan. Makes a great leaping interception this time as he comes back to make a big play there.
Well, Sheridan played the ball. He had that one all the way, and the receiver got beyond there, Barry. Did an excellent job getting over there. That was intended for Smith. But Sheridan, beaten on the last play, decided this time he'd go right to the ball, and he did what he didn't do on the first play, Tom. He was aggressive up for the ball. He went after the football.
He did go after the ball, and the ball was a little underthrown, but you remember in the beginning of the telecast, Rob Haas told us, when Smith goes in motion, we know the ball's coming to him, we're going to go after him. And he did. They had Sheridan right on top of him. They went after him, got the ball, 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line for the goal and flashes.
All right, quarterback is Justin Cimello. We'll give you DeLuca's numbers as they mount up here in the second half. He'll get the call, cuts it back inside the 45 to around the 47-yard line. It's a gain of only about 2 or 3 on the play, setting up second down at about 8.
Key to stopping DeLuca, don't let him get his shoulder squared up to the line of scrimmage. And that time, he just barely got the shoulders back to the line of scrimmage, and they dumped him after a 2-yard gain. Again, it's very important for Wantagh to stop Sayville on first down, put him in long yardage situation.
DeLuca, an all-county lacrosse player. And a young man, as we mentioned, a candidate for the Hanson Award. 29 carries, 129 yards. He's a quiet kid, a shy, polite kid. Leads by example, according to Rob Haas. And boy, does he ever lead. On second down, DeLuca trying to follow Mio, cuts it to the outside. And he got away from the initial tackle of Joe Puris and able to pick up some nice yardage close to a first down.
It looked like Pierce was being held in the corner, and he came up looking for it, but there was no call on that one, and did a good job of getting around. It looks like he's right at the first down mark, and there's Craig Marshall saying, 1st and 10, do it again for Sayville.
Well, as you heard, Dan Lippenholt spoke to one coach. Dan, tell us about what the other coach had to say. We heard from Dan a short while ago in our halftime break.
Well, I got a chance to speak to Wantagh coach Keith Sachs off camera, and he obviously wasn't very pleased with the way the first half had went. He said he gave him 2 touchdowns there. And although they're down 21-6, he was a little pleased with the fact that they didn't score at the end of the first half. And he says that they have an explosive team, so they can put points on the board still.
All right, Dan, thanks very much. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. DeLuca up the middle. That time, very little gain on the play, setting up second down. And more importantly for Sayville, the clock continues to tick on these running plays in.
Little different look there. They went with a spread out. They had 2 wide receivers, one side, one to the other, try to spread out the defense and run back up the middle. Let's go back to Sheridan's interception. He's made 2 interceptions in this game. One he returned for a touchdown. So he's made some big plays for Sayville on the defensive side.
Well, he's a young man that was scheduled to play Muscarella. He's got a nose for the ball, hits very hard. And right now it is second down and 8 from the 43-yard line. Mio is the up back. And the handoff to Mio. And he gets maybe to the 40-yard line. Sets up another third down. It'll be 3rd and 5 as getting up slowly. Number 55, Anthony Polo, who started as a 10th grader, and he's a junior. What a terrific athlete he is. And, of course, his older brother, Rich Polo, he's out of the game. He had 2 interceptions early in the year, cracked vertebrae. So as we mentioned last week, your younger brother's playing, your older brother, you're on the bench, can't get into the championship game, but rooting like heck for your teammate.
Well, the lineage here in Sayville, they've got a lot of brothers, uncles, and cousins all playing together. Family affair.
No question about it. And back to throw. Cimello throws short. On 3rd down, he was looking for his intended receiver who checked into the ball game on that play. That was 17, Mike DeLuca. Talk about the family tree there. Mike DeLuca, the nephew or the cousin of John DeLuca.
Now, 4th down early in the game, Tom Howard, they did not punt. They didn't stay in the punt, went for the first down. What do you think they're going to do here, Tom? Punt it away or run for it?
They sent out their punt team. They're definitely going to punt. The key here is Wantagh going to catch the football. They've had such a breakdown in their kicking game, they have to catch the ball.
Joe Mio is the man to do the punting at midfield. Muscarella is standing back at around the 5. Low snap, he'll get it away, and this one will sail over the head of the receiver into the end zone. We'll be back. 7:36 to go, third quarter. Sayville leads at 21-6. You're watching the LIC Game of the Week on Telecare. Barry Landers at Ingalls, Tom Howard, and Sayville holding a 21-6 lead. Wantagh to the line of scrimmage. Pete Ligori, the center. Scott Giraldi, Neil Walsh, the guards. Connor Cohn, Steve Genovese, the tackles. Delay and turning it to the outside, Rob Smith. And Smith showing his power, gets it to the 25. It's a gain of about 4, setting up second down and 6. And Smith with that shoulder injury, Eddie, slow in getting up. He tried to lower his shoulder a little bit there, and that may cost him dearly because if it's a big hit, he may have to come out of the game.
Well, he banged into a teammate. He had a blocker in front of him, and he ran hard into the blocker. That's where the injury occurred. And Chief Saxon said before, and I asked him before the game, he said, we'll go as long as Smith can go. If he gets knocked out, so be it. We're not sure how far he can play.
On the sideline, Rob Smith being attended to, and we'll see who's replaced him in the lineup right here. Procida now moves into tailback. It is Procida to shake it to the outside, trying to get around Sheridan. Sheridan trips him up with a nice tackle, but it is a first down. Sheridan saved even a bigger gain right there.
A little different kind of runner. He's a power runner, Procida, at 5'10", 190. Very good lacrosse player, outstanding lacrosse player. Played with that Rutgers Cup winning team as a freshman here with Wantagh. And he has the ability to also to cut it to the outside. Made some nice moves to the outside, Tom.
He does. He's a power runner with speed, Ed, and he was able to show his speed right there. He made the nice cut. Unfortunately, got just taken down by the ankle, but he'll be the guy. He'll be the main carrier from here on in until we see Rob Smith again.
Slot to the near side. Caracappa will give it to Procida to the outside. Try to follow his blocker, but number 72 was never able to get into his block, Connor Cohn there. But he did pick up on his own about 3 yards on the play, make it second down and 7.
Been a tough day for the Wantagh offensive line. I'm sure they came in averaging 41 points a game, figuring their offensive line would be able to handle Sayville's defense. They've not been able to do that. The offensive line of Wantagh really not opening many holes for the running backs.
Eric Giraldi is in the backfield, number 30. Eric, of course, plays defensive end. We've been talking about his brother doing an outstanding job as the linebacker. He's in the up-back position. Procida, the tailback. Muscarella now with double coverage to the near side as they send Einhorn to that side. Caracappa looking. He's in trouble, and he'll be sacked. Good job by the secondary coverage there. Had nowhere to go with that football, and Kurt Norton brought him down.
Excellent coverage sack right there because Norton was just biding his time, fighting off his block, but the defensive secondary did such a great job, Barry. There was nowhere to throw the football. So this not just gives Sayville credit for their offensive and defensive line play. They are a great football team, and they're showing that today.
And again, James Sheridan with 2 interceptions. He was the man covering Muscarella deep. Wouldn't let him get open, and that caused a sack.
So at a huge third down play, Torres and Einhorn, a little miscommunication. Now it's Einhorn running onto the field with the play. Caracappa will let his team know this is a big third down play with 5:09. Go. Why is the clock running when the ball was incomplete just a short time ago? Oh, he's sacked. I beg your pardon. Caracappa with time. Looking from the receiver out there. Oh, what a terrific catch downfield for a first down in double coverage. It was Pat Kennyane, number 83, or was it Procida, number 23? It was Procida.
Yeah, Procida's not real big. He's only 5'10", but again, it's about going up and winding the football more than the defensive back. He just outleaped 2 defenders. And by the way, they had another receiver wide open downfield. Number 83, Kennyane was open, so that time he had a choice, the quarterback, Capricaro, where he wanted to throw the football.
And Caracappa did a nice job putting the ball up, but what you saw Procida do is he ran Rob Smith's pattern out of the backfield. They've been looking for number 32 to do that. They weren't looking for number 23.
Torres wide to the right, top of your screen. Muscarella wide to the left side with double coverage. On a delay, here's Procida. Procida driven forward by the defensive player, picked up about 3 yards as he's brought down on the play by Kurt Norton and Joe Mio. Clock ticking, 4:15 to go Here in the third quarter, Sayville with a 21-6 lead over Wantagh.
It may seem a little premature, but right now, Wantagh is moving the ball. If you're the Wantagh offensive staff, you have to think about going for two. Not only the touchdown, but what two-point play is going to also get us in after the touchdown. On the other hand, Sayville, which has been doing such a great job defensively, needs to step up right now over the next two downs.
3:55 and counting. Muscarella to the right. Now they'll draw single coverage. Neugebauer going over to play them head-to-head. Sheridan is playing him deep. Caracappa, deep drop, looking, throwing it, looking for Kenny Ain, and it's going to be intercepted, and they rule it intercepted inbounds by Matt Messina.
Matt Messina did a marvelous job. He came across the field to go with the receiver, and he stayed with Pat Kennevan. At the last minute before he went out of bounds, he went high in the air. The ball died a little bit in the wind, but a good job again by the secondary of Sayville. They had a lot of people to cover as Wantagh spread the field with the receivers, and again, that's the third interception of the day for Sayville. They played outstanding pass defense.
Yeah, we saw Messina catch the ball for a touchdown early in the game. We said he's a great receiver, and he played offense on defense that play. That ball went in the air. He said, hey, it's mine. He went after it, caught it, and brought it down with both feet inbounds. Only need one in high school anyway.
Well, quarterback Caracappa had only thrown 3 interceptions in 118 passes prior to today. He's been picked off 3 times today by this underrated Sayville defense. And trying to pick up some yardage is Joe Mio. Now, we talk about it being an underrated defense, Tom, but if you remember last year that this Sayville team was the lowest scoring defense in Suffolk County, and they gave up just about 6 points a game. This year, they're second lowest at about 6.5.
Yeah, Rob Haas has taken over the program 3 years ago. This is his third year right now. He is doing a great job defensively. He believes that winning championships comes from the defensive side of the ball. We've been talking about his offense and the line, how they've been able to control the ball. Well, his defense has done nothing but stop one of the highest, most proficient scoring attacks in Nassau County, shutting him down to 6 points.
You can't run, you can't pass, and that's what Wantagh is running into.
Once again, they'll try Joe Mio. Mio stopped. It'll set up a third down play. DeLuca coming up. Check that DeLuca on the carry. So it'll set up a third down play with 2:55 and counting right now.
We talked about DeLuca at the outset of the broadcast again. As a running back, he gets better as the game goes along. He wears down the defense. Right now, it's turning into a ball control clock game. Late third quarter, Sayville sitting on a 2-touchdown lead. They just want DeLuca, pound on the ball, eat the clock. They can play their kind of game to win it. They're in a position just where they want to be in this game to play ball control, run the tackle.
32 carries, 140 yards for the 2-year All-County John DeLuca. He'll get the call again. He's got blocking out there. Breaks into the secondary. Muscarella chasing him along with Procida, and finally driven out of bounds at the 47-yard line, a 30-yard gain.
All day long they've been able to run around the fracture. Wantagh tightens up in the perimeter, play the tackle. They just get outside and they knock down 3 Wantagh defenders. Excellent blocks that time by Sayville.
Well, Wantagh is running that 5-3 still. They went to it in the beginning of the second half. It looked like they were at 4 look. They were playing a little even front, but they're running that 5. They're getting the block on the corner on a kick out, and then he's cutting back up inside and then breaking it out to the outside and doing a great job with it.
Well, officially a 28-yard gain for John DeLuca. Well, people talked about Jason Gwaltney and talked about Darrell Young, and Suffolk County has produced some terrific running backs this year, Ed.
Outstanding running backs, and they're big, strong running backs with good speed.
He's physical. He can wear you down, as we've seen. This time it's Mio trying to use his physicality, and Procida grabs him around the ankles and stops him, but not before the bruising fullback picks up about 6 or 7 on the play.
Well, that's what they like to do. They run DeLuca 2 or 3 plays, and they come back with a quick hitter, trap up the middle with Mio, and he just puts his head down, low center of gravity, runs over people to get 4 or 5 yards, keep the clock going.
Mio 8 carries for 33 yards. DeLuca in the playoff games, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns against Huntington. 208 yards, 3 touchdowns against Hills West. And another big day today for John DeLuca. This time it is Mio in the single setback trying to pick up the first down. Looks like he's shy, Eddie, but once again, that clock, which is the ally of Sayville, continues to tick.
The Wantagh defensive line cannot shed the blockers for the linebackers to make the tackles, and every play, 4 or 5 yards, they give up because of that at the least.
Key third down position right now, third and about a long one, and I think we'll probably see John DeLuca carrying the ball one more time.
Well, clock ticking, 1:02 to go, and clock ticking in favor of Sayville. It's been a great football season. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and we'll be starting up our basketball coverage in December. Neugebauer And once again, DeLuca as a flanker to the left side. They spread the field. Mio will try to pick up the first down. Had to get to the 45. And let's see where they mark that ball, Eddie.
Really good job. They spread the field. They had slot formation top, slot formation bottom of screen, but they bunched in their offensive linemen, so immediately Wantagh knew that they had to tighten up in the middle and did an excellent job coming over the middle, making a good play that time for Wantagh was their defensive linebacker, Joe Mio.
But not good enough that time. It is a first down. So Sayville, with Mio carrying the ball, picks up the first down to the 45. And 20 seconds to go, maybe just one more play, and we'll head to the fourth quarter time with Sayville holding on to that 15-point lead.
Well, Barry, this is one of the quickest games we're going to see because Sayville is just using their line and using the clock, chewing up yardage at will, and I mean, the game is just going by. And Wantagh needs to step up and step up right now.
We're trying to step up and stop the man here. DeLuca stopped for a short game, but that is it. Third quarter has come to an end, and the Sayville Golden Flashes trying to win a Rutgers Cup for the first time in 32 years and go undefeated in that same stretch. Right now, lead it 21-6. We'll return on the game of the week in just a moment. Been golden so far, the Golden Flashes right now, Eddie, leading 21-6. Barry Landers, Ed Ingles, Tom Howard. Sayville with a second down, 9, 21-6 they lead as we start the fourth quarter.
Give you numbers to look at. 52 plays for Sayville from scrimmage. Wantagh only 21. Sayville run 31 more plays in the first three quarters.
DeLuca bruises his way for about 5 tough yards. Boy, at 5'9", 205 pounds, low center of gravity, and he really punishes you as a running back.
He certainly does. I mean, he gets square to the line of scrimmage, and he just lowers that shoulder and goes for every yard. And you can see, Wantagh's running the even defense. Now they have an even front. They're running a 4, but it's still making it tough for the linebackers to fill because those 5 offensive linemen of Sayville are getting off the ball.
Tom, what could you do defensively if you wanted to stop this? Anything you can do you haven't done?
Well, no. I think that, you may change your defense looks. You may start stunting a little bit more, but then again, when you do that and you're not used to doing that, you could get caught and he could break a long one on you.
Remember, Rob Smith, who's a fine defensive player as well, not in the lineup as well with the injury. Here's Mio breaking it to the outside. And Joe Mio down inside the 20 at the 19. That's about a 20-yard gain.
Well, Mio does the blocking for DeLuca all the time, and DeLuca said, you know what, I'll return the favor this time. He made a terrific block on the left side to spring Mio open.
Well, no team has been able to stop the Sayville running attack. They've averaged well over 200 yards a game against everybody, and here today, 245 yards running against this Wantagh defense.
Yeah, they have impressed me immensely, Barry, because they've done exactly what they said they were going to do. They're going to take it to Wantagh. And after watching Wantagh a few times this year, I figure, that's going to be tough to do. I think it'll be a very good game, but they have just shined today.
Mio, 12 carries, 62 yards. Blocking now for DeLuca off the left side. This could put the game away with a touchdown here. To the 15-yard line he goes. A minute into the fourth quarter, Sayville on the move again.
No fluke. Sayville came in averaging 300 yards a game rushing. We had wondered again what kind of competition they'd beaten because West Hampton and Amityville last year in Division III had gone down to Division IV. These are two outstanding teams. Figured maybe it was going to be a weak division that Sayville had played in this year. But certainly they're not a weak team. I don't know about that division, but this is a very strong Sayville team.
No question about it, Ed Ingles. Second down and 5 from the 14-yard line. Field position, everything's gone against Wantagh today. And a lot of it has related to the way Sayville has played. This is Argentina on the inside handoff. He'll pick a couple of yards up to about the 12. Mike Procida on the tackle.
Tom, reminds me of old-fashioned football. They play 2 tight ends, no flankers, no wide receivers, full house backfield, 7 linemen.
Yeah, it's a smash-mouth football, and they said, and it's funny because a lot of the teams are doing this who are playing in the Long Island Championships this year. They're a run-oriented team that takes it right to you.
Well, should Wantagh lose, there's still plenty of time left. This would really open up things for the Rutgers Cup for this year. Roosevelt, going into the final game of the year, is the only undefeated team left should Wantagh lose this game, but let's not count these guys out. Remember what they had to do against Bethpage a few years ago when their quarterback got hurt. DeLuca trying to make that fait accompli as he's into the end zone for a 13-yard touchdown scamper, and Sayville continues its stunning play, leading 27-6.
Again, they knocked the secondary out. They knock out the cornerback. Ray Argentina, 5'10", 186. who plays as a wing back. He made the block on the cornerback, opened things up for the run for DeLuca. Once he gets in the secondary and there's nobody there, he's fast enough to outrun you.
Well, there are people there. They're just getting knocked over. I mean, they were getting knocked back on the rear. The Sayville offensive line, the Sayville running backs are just taking it to Wantagh right now.
Steve Pallas, who's been near perfect as an extra point kicker, boots this one up, and it is good. So the Sayville Golden Flashes have opened up a 28-6 lead as they look for their second Long Island championship in 2 tries. Remember back in 1998, they blew out Glen Cove, and right now they're stunning Wantagh 28-6 with 9:34 to go in the 4th quarter. Our great sponsors, we mentioned the folks in the Nassau County Bonanno Realty over in Broadway, Massapequa. The family's been a big supporter of the Wantagh Football Club, that great organization with Rich Polo, and he's done a great job over there putting things together. The Alco Construction people, End Zone Sports, Rich involved with that, along with Jim Dandy Cleaners, Century 21, Prevent Realty, Andy and his great team on Jerusalem Avenue in Wantagh, and the Ivaroni brothers celebrating the grand opening in the Cherrywood Shopping Center in Wantagh. This time they get it at the 20 to the 25, and run out of bounds is the return man that time, Luis Camacho, the 5'6", 145-pounder, who brings it back to about the 35-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10.
Old-fashioned football for Sayville. They grind it out, 12 plays, 88 yards. But, you know, when you're grinding out averaging more than 6 yards a snap, that's pretty good grinding.
It certainly is. You don't have to grind too much. Again, you have that line, you know, we talk in championship football about ball control and time of possession. Well, the time of possession has been Sayville's, the ball control has been Sayville's, the field position has been Sayville's. They've had all the things you need to do and great defense in championship football.
Who would have believed that they would hold Wantagh's running attack as they have today? Caracappa to go to the air. He's under pressure. DeLuca had him wrapped up around the leg. And let's see, do we have a flag on the play? No.
Well, speaking of flags, we have not had a penalty drop in this game. That's an amazing stat. Not a single penalty. But again, you know, talk about DeLuca. We talked about how good he is offensively. Defensively, he's just outstanding. He's a 2-year-old county player, and they run away from him most times because he is so quick and so destructive.
Eddie, last week he sacked Walker, who's the son of Wesley Walker, of course, former star player and with the Jets. Sacked that great quarterback 3 times last week. Really shut down his running and passing ability.
Well, that's the problem Wantagh has. Whenever they go to throw, here comes DeLuca, and that gets in the quarterback's head.
Well, one of the things Wantagh was worried about, they had turned the ball over so infrequently, Eddie. 4 turnovers the entire season going into today. That's only 4 turnovers, 1 fumble, and 3 interceptions. Today they've had 3 passes picked off. Caracappa looking, he's in deep trouble. Caracappa trying to fight for his life here, will be downed as he's DeLuca in on the play, along with Matt Ziss, number 67.
Tom, the impressive thing to you about the defense of Sayville, they're only rushing 4 people and they're getting pressure on the quarterback. Leave 6 people deep to cover.
You know, what's happening right now, though, is Sayville is looking for the home run. They're running deep patterns, and then, you know, Caracappa is sitting back waiting, and he's getting the pressure on him. They need to run shorter patterns and hope they can break it rather than waiting for the long bomb.
Eric Giraldi now runs a play in from the sideline. This is the biggest play of the game, 3rd and 11 at the 35. They trailed by 28-6. Clock ticking, 8:35 to go. Muscarella lined up against Sheridan. Caracappa 6 for 12, 137 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Little razzle-dazzle here, and Muscarella has nowhere to go as he's downed on the play. Once again, they smelled that out. It was Matt Ziss, number 67.
It's all about blocking people. I don't care what you do, razzle-dazzle. If you don't block people and they play their gap control in the lanes defense, when you may eventually come out of that razzle-dazzle, there's somebody waiting for you. And Ziss has stepped up. Now, he's only a 215, 235, 5'11", built like a fire plug. He really comes off the bench, but he's done a real good job on run stopping this year.
Well, they're going to punt here. Look at this formation here. Well, a deep, maybe probably not punting here. And it's Procida, the lefty, throwing on the run, and it is picked off. Once again, Billy O'Connor, the freshman, the 4th interception of the day thrown by the Wantagh team, and that could be the nail in the coffin, as this one now, with timeout, 7:40 to go, has Sayville leading it by a score of 28-6.
Well, they try gadget plays. We know Wantagh likes to run the gadget plays. Keith Sachs loves that stuff. And there's a gadget play blew up in his face.
We'll be back. Time out of the field. It's all Sayville. The Golden Flashes, 7:40 away from winning their second Long Island championship. Sayville, 7:40 to go, holding a 28-6 lead over a stunned Wantagh team that came in the favorite, you would have to think. Boy, this guy just does not quit. Nowhere to go this time for the big running back, DeLuca. But what's impressive, as we saw with Jason Gwaltney last week, Eddie, you carry the ball as he's going to carry at least 40 times today, and Gwaltney 54 times last week. You don't fumble the ball. You hold on to the football. It's amazing.
Yeah, great ball security, and the fact that he is such... We talked about his strength earlier, Tom, how he squats 435 pounds. He's a freak in the weight room. Here's a guy who really loves football, gets himself in great physical shape, so that if you're in great physical shape, you don't break down mentally and make that kind of loop drop the ball. That's very important mentally if you're strong physically first.
Yeah, he's strong physically, he's strong mentally, and he's a great running back. He shows all the characteristics of a great running back, and he's able, he believes in himself, and he believes in his team, and he's been doing a great job this afternoon, as he has all season.
38 rushing touchdowns for this young man, and he's got a huge hole here. Look at him drive players with him to the 27-yard line, a gain of about 13.
Well, they took advantage of the small nose guard for Wantagh as they knocked down Steve Nastro, who is only 185 pounds. Excellent job by Ed Reeser, who's 6'1", 190, the senior center, who's all-division player. Just opened up the hole, and they moved the chains with 6:30 to go, and Sayville in the process of putting this one away.
And there's the young quarterback, Justin Cimello. They wondered whether he could place Kirsten, who had been a fixture there for 3 years, got Sayville into the playoffs a few years ago in 2001, and all this kid has done is shown the guts of a burglar, a gunslinger, and a kid who came in raw but has come along so nicely as the season has come on. That is Justin Cimello to run this offense. And the man who runs the football over 200 yards today, DeLuca with his 39th carry, now up to 200 and about 4 yards.
Well, we knew DeLuca could run between the tackles, but when he started going around the perimeter in this game early on, I think that sent a message to Wantagh because nobody had run outside him all year long, and DeLuca was showing him he could run inside or outside and dominate the game.
Ed, again, you talk about Wantagh coming in. I think perhaps, again, you'd have to talk to their coach. He was worried about never having that bad game where you have the turnovers. You play a whole game all season, or whole season, you don't turn it over, and today they were stunned, and Mr. Argentina looking to put points on the board here, and hog-tied down at the 3-yard line.
Barry, I think what you're saying is two things, okay, and they're both a little different. Number one, Wantagh is not playing the best game today, but I don't care if they play their best or not. Sayville is an outstanding football team. They showed it. They came here. They are dominating on every facet of the football game, and they're showing why they're such a great team.
No question. I agree with you on that, Tom.
Keith Sachs had said when I talked to me, he said, you look at the video, I don't know who they played. I can't really get a good feel for this team until we take them on the field. He said, I don't know what we're really facing here. We're going to have to adjust on the fly.
But Ed, both teams dominated their divisions. There's no question about it. Sayville was totally dominant, and Mr. DeLuca totally dominant again as he goes in for his third touchdown of the day, and the lead is now 34-6 as Sayville continues to impress.
Sayville's got a little more experience on the offensive line. That's a big thing. They've got players who played together for 2 or 3 years in the offensive line, and they're bigger than Wantagh, and they really get a really good surge off the ball, and that's been a big difference to them.
Well, I just feel that Sayville came into this thing completely prepared, knew what they could do, believed in what they could do, and they've just worked in every facet of the game and did everything correct.
Again, I'll go back to a point as we watch Palace, who's been perfect on extra points, kick this one up, and finally he misses. Only the third time all year that he's missed. He's now 28 of 33 on the year. Actually, 28 of 32. The point I wanted to make, and we'll pick that up when we return, right now it's all Sayville. As Suffolk leads it in the series, looks like they're going to go 2 games up right now as they lead this one after Longwood won earlier over Farmingdale. And right now, Sayville impressing 34-6 with 5:11 to go in the fourth quarter. In the Sayville John DeLuca Show, 40 carries, 206 yards, and 3 touchdowns as the Golden Flashes have headed west, young man, and they have proven that they are indeed a quality football team, as looks like Suffolk's going to go 2-0 in the games played here at Hofstra, heading into the final 2 games at Stony.
Yeah, they certainly have done very well so far in the first 2 playoff games, with Longwood knocking off Farmingdale, dominating the second half. By the way, DeLuca probably go to Stony Brook, where he'll play both lacrosse and football.
Guglielmo's had a tough time all day. Will field this one up. He's going to be the quarterback next year, and he comes up with a short return to about the 30-yard line. Tom, I was going to make the point, we were talking about both teams being so dominant in their respective conferences in Class 3 or Division 3 as they call it in Suffolk, Conference 3 as they call it in Nassau, that it was hard to read how they would play in a game matched against each other.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this year, Nassau County, Division 3 or Conference 3 in Nassau County, Bethpage has dominated in that conference for years. Actually, in the Long Island Final, we saw they have 4 championships. Wasn't the great class Bethpage team they've been in the past. Wantagh really was by themselves. Sayville was by themselves in Conference 3, Division 3 out in Suffolk County. So everybody's waiting to see, well, what's the matchup going to be like? Well, we've seen, and there the ball goes down. There's a fumble. It looks like Sayville recovered it.
I believe the 5th turnover. Did they fumble one earlier as well? And so this could be the 6th turnover, Eddie. 4 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries for Sayville, as it's just snowballed throughout the day. One of those days that Keith Sachs was worried about. You have your worst game, you turn the ball over 6 times against a ball control team.
Well, your quarterback gets jumpy after a while, even though Caracap has had a tremendous year, completed about 70% of his passes, thrown for almost 1,500 yards, 22 touchdowns. The way that defensive line of Sayville, swimming upstream, 52, Kirk Norton, all-county, he was in, put the pressure on the quarterback, and really his presence made for the fumble.
And guess who recovered the ball? Number 32, John DeLuca.
And one of the reasons that Wantagh is having such a bad day is because of those gold and white and purple jerseys over there. I mean, Sayville is playing a tremendous game. They're just stepping up.
Well, you heard from Chad Smith. He's got to be very proud of this team. The Golden Flashes of Sayville, 32 years ago, Rutgers Cup champs, and back in '98, John DeLuca was watching as a youngster, watching this team win. 6 years ago, he was in middle school watching this team win the Long Island Championship. John Hart went on to play at New Hampshire, was on that team. John McGurty was a baseball player drafted in the Major League system right now. Robbie Neugebauer, the older brother, of course, of Dan Neugebauer. T.J. Brocking was a quarterback at Post and coaching over there. So they had quite a cast, but this cast has to take no back seat to that one.
Well, Sayville had great tradition. 5 losing seasons since 1957. That may say it all, how much success they've had.
No question about it. Right up the middle. Look at this. One more time right here. And are they ever celebrating right here as this young man continues? Joe Mio, and the man carrying the mail right there. Once again, what a great effort by this Sayville team.
Well, I think right there they said, hey, you know something, Joe? You've been blocking all year for John DeLuca. We're giving you yours. If you can get in there, and he went 8 yards on that play and says, I'm not being stopped. Did he fumble? Yeah, he fumbled 8 yards deep in the end zone. That doesn't count. It's a touchdown.
How about 13 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown? And that probably is more than Mike Presida and Rob Smith combined have rushed for today. High snap. Palace gets the kick away, and it is good.
Their running backs are just pushing the defensive players out of the way when they get in the secondary. It's old-fashioned football, just knocking them down like you used to see in schoolyard.
And we came into the telecast, we were talking about 2 great running backs from Wantagh. Well, we saw the 2 great running backs from Sayville. We were talking about the great quarterback from Wantagh. Well, the Sayville quarterback put the money on. Presida and Smith have had 29 yards combined in 10 carries. And you saw between the other 2 guys, it's 300 yards rushing on the ground between Mayo and DeLuca.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. That's what makes it. You got to win the game on the field, guys. We'll be back with the final 4:05 to go. And a licking taking place right here. Sayville leading 41-6 over a great Wantagh team. Oakdale area, and they've had a lot to celebrate, Ed, as their team has been nothing short of sensational today, leading 41-6 with 4:05 to go here in the 4th quarter.
I remember this Wantagh team came in unbeaten. They were 10-0. They averaged 41 points a game. So they have certainly got their portfolio as a team that's established an awful lot this year. They've just been manhandled by Sayville.
Muscarella will take this, looks for the wedge up the middle. Muscarella into the secondary. Muscarella may take it to the house here, and he at the 20, at the 10, at the 5, a little bit too little too late. As he goes all the way for the touchdown, there is a player down hurt at the 30-yard line.
Well, that time he got to the wedge, and the wedge worked. Wantagh have been running the wedge all day. They've been dropping kicks. They dropped 2, but they had to go back and get the ball at the goal line. They dropped another one around the 20. That time, good ball security. Muscarella got the ball, had 5 blockers. Once he popped that initial line of defense, he was gone. He just outran everybody.
Undoubtedly trailing by a huge margin. They'll go for 2 to try to make it a little bit closer. Here's Caracappa looking to throw. Throws. It is complete for the 2-point play to Muscarella, who will finish a great career. And what a great receiver. This young man's going to be a lacrosse player, but an all-county football player. He's going to help somebody next year if he does decide to play football, because he's a terrific receiver.
Well, he certainly had a tremendous day today. 72-yard catch, pass player, 80-yard kickoff return for both touchdowns. Then he catches a pass for the 2-point play. He certainly distinguished himself on a day when Wantagh had a lot of trouble.
Tom Howard, we mentioned the Rutgers Cup. You, of course, at Bayshore back in '83 and '84, won championships in Rutgers Cups. Nassau Rutgers Cup, it's up for grabs, I guess, a little bit right now.
Well, you're not supposed to count. It's supposed to be the best or the most outstanding team in the county, so you're not supposed to count cross-county matches. However, this a lot of times is not voted on. Suffolk, from what I understand, has voted on theirs already. It's done. It's a done deal. Nassau County has not, and I've been at the Gridiron 44 dinner where they're actually collecting votes from the coaches there. You're not supposed to count it, but does this sneak in? If Roosevelt ends up 10 or 11-0 and Wantagh drops one, I'm not sure. I know for a fact that Tom Flatley could be undefeated with only 1 tie. He's going to say, hey, if I come out and I beat North Babylon and you're still putting that in the back of your head, maybe I deserve it. So it's still up in the air, but it's supposed to be only counted within the county, not on the Long Island Championship.
And Ed, on the Suffolk side, of course, you have to look at what Sayville did. Obviously, Longwood lost twice this year, but look at their late run, beating Floyd, Patchogue Medford, and the Nassau champ Farmingdale decisively.
Yeah, and playing a very Division I is so tough. We think that's the toughest division in Long Island, at Division I, and Longwood won most games in Division I. Got here, beat Farmingdale. But you also can make really a case for Amityville and Sayville right here. They're unbeaten.
All right, off the kick. Golden Flashes will recover. That's the way it's been for Wantagh. They get the ball off a player there. They might have been able to recover that, but the ball has not bounced their way today.
Again, just too little, too late. It looks like Sayville will take the ball now at 3:47. They could run out the clock. And let's not forget the great North Babylon team. Terry Manning's team lost by 1 point to an incredible West Babylon team. Came back and beat that incredible West Babylon team by 1 point. So it's a wide open race in Suffolk County.
And, of course, we'll look at a great matchup, Amityville and Roosevelt, Eddie, with 2 tremendous running backs, going wild in that one. Darrell Young, if he's healthy, against McClintock, the great running back for Roosevelt.
And the question is, can Roosevelt stand up at the line of scrimmage to Amityville? I didn't get a chance to talk about North Babylon because they kicked off. I agree with Tom. All those teams really are deserving of the Rutgers Cup right now.
Roosevelt has a big line, and they've got a great running back, and you're watching a great running back here. Look at him just... They can't tackle him. All they can do is knock him out of bounds.
Well, when they get up high, you're not going to tackle him high. You've got to get down around the ankles and knees, and that's been a problem. When he's gone tackle to tackle, he's gotten low with his body. Once he gets to the secondary top, then he straightens up a little bit and leans with his shoulder to knock people out of the way.
John DeLuca's 41 inches wide up at the shoulders. He's only about 14 inches wide down below the knees. That's where you want to go to get him down.
Well, congratulations to John DeLuca and Sayville. They came here with not a lot of people knowing too much about him in Nassau County, and they're sure going to know about him right now.
After a 27-yard run, and they've done this all day long, they marched into Wantagh territory.
This time they give it to Mio, and he's stopped. 3:30 to go here in the 4th quarter. And again, thanks to all our great crew. Ed, this will be the final time that you and I will have a chance to work this football season that began back on a nice summery day in September at Comac High School, Comac Northport, and here we are at Hofstra, late November, Long Island Championships, and it's been so much fun again.
Yeah, well, I've been blessed in my life to have done the Jets for 7 years, done a lot of college games, but really, late in my life, I've enjoyed high school football perhaps more than any of the football levels that I've been involved in. It's just wonderful to watch these young people grow, and the way they're always so competitive and so unselfish, too.
Well, we do have an injured player. The reason for a stoppage right now, a Wantagh player being attended to, will step out right now. Right now it's Sayville 41, Wantagh 14, 3:25 to go here the 4th quarter. A terrific junior will be back next year, 6 foot, 220-pound Connor Cohn, lacrosse and baseball player, and he was an all-county player this year, being helped off the field. And right now, Wantagh will try to stop Mr. John DeLuca, who has been running wild here, Eddie, as he continues. This was a 21-6 game, and they put up 20 points very quickly here DeLuca now 42 carries for 244 yards.
I thought the pass interception in the second quarter by Sheridan, which he returned 8 yards for a touchdown to give Sayville a 21-0 lead, really, if you're looking for a turning point, might have been the one that really put Wantagh down the campus.
And give credit to that offensive line, DeLuca, trying to get away, slowed up. Look at the leg drive by DeLuca. 83, Pat Kennyane had him in the backfield for a loss. He said, I'm not going down. You need more than one guy to take me down. And it took 3.
He didn't quit, Tom. When he did, he got hit. He shed the tackle. And once he gets those shoulders squared up again, then he says, okay, guys, now I'm going to go forward.
And that's what John DeLuca has showed the people in Division III out in Suffolk all year long. They knew what was coming into town on the Sayville bus today. I don't think the people in Nassau County or Wantagh had any idea.
Well, he's got 4.7 speed, so people say, well, he could never play the big-time college game. He may be a 1AA player, maybe a Stony Brook, maybe in Albany, but watch this kid play out here today. And this Mr. Mio just got his second touchdown of the day, as he says, not only can I play and block, but I can run the football.
But again, right up the middle, behind the center, they've done that. What they do is just a little trap, a quick hitter. Up goes Mio. He goes in the end zone. And they run that play so successfully that he has had running room. He's a strong back, but most times he doesn't run over anybody until he gets in the secondary on that play, Tom.
Yeah, he just gets through the line of scrimmage and then, again, squares his shoulders, heads north and south, and right into the end zone. He got hit when he was 3 yards into the end zone.
Well, we mentioned Sayville had the record for most points in a playoff game involving the Long Island teams. That was 51 back in 1998. And they're right now just 3 points shy of that mark, because they've had a wild fourth quarter here, scoring, 28 points?
Yeah, it's amazing. If anybody would have said that Sayville was going to score 51 points on Wantagh, I would have said, hey, go to a psychiatrist and get your head examined, because there's no way that's going to happen. Well, I'm sure that Rob Haas and the Sayville people knew they had the potential for doing that if their team got on track, and they got on track early, and they've been scoring often.
Well, in 2001, when Wantagh won their championship, 17-7, they did it with a lot of drama. They had to rally to beat a great Bethpage team. Their starting quarterback got hurt. Brian Rath had to come in, lead them to victory on a long touchdown drive in the closing seconds. In the Nassau County Championship, they went on to beat Harborfield 17-7, but today they've run into a terrific opponent in Sayville.
Yeah, they've run into a buzzsaw, and they ran into a team that believed walking in here they could do it. Rob Haas told us before the game, he said, hey, if our line can do what we think they can do, we're going to win this football game. Well, our line did that and above.
And again, I don't know this for sure, but again, after beating Bethpage, a team that in a sense similar, that runs the football, they must have figured coming in, we stopped them on the run with our offense. Nobody's going to stop us.
Why wouldn't you think that way? If you beat Bethpage, Bethpage has really been the model for Nassau with how he votes, the way he's the job he's done here. If you want to, or you manhandle Bethpage twice during the regular season, you've got to feel very good about yourself and think that you can beat anybody. I'm sure Keith Sachs came in here, figured he was going to win this game because he said he wasn't going to make a lot of adjustments.
But Tom, as a coach, you know what young people sometimes, coaches know that, they respect the teams, you try to drill it into your kids, but they may have thought the Long Island Championship might have been last week.
Absolutely. You can drill all you want into your kids. They still believe what they want to believe. But that's why you have to come up with different game plans, maybe a couple of different changes on defense, But, something, you could change anything you want. It's just this Sayville football team is that great of a team. And I'm sure Keith Sachs will be the first right after this game to tell you that.
Yeah, once you dominate the line of scrimmage, once you establish that on both sides of the ball, you're really hard for the other team to get the game back their way. That's where it's all played, in the trenches.
Again, thanks to our great sponsors, Elite Sports Medicine and Rehab. You heard from Dr. Segreto was in the booth earlier. Dr. Anthony Fergola, the laser root canal specialist over Montauk Highway in West Islip, a great guy. By Weehall, all moving and delivery in North Babylon. Len Phillips and Sayville Ford people, Sunrise Highway Sayville. They've got to be happy about things. Dutch Door Realty in East Islip, Bayshore, and of course in West Sayville. McGovern's, Montauk Highway, Oakdale, great food there. And the TDK Eating and Irrigation people, Montauk Highway, Sayville. And of course our good friend, the Bayport House Restaurant over in Bayport, Bill Succo, former Golden Flash football player. He's delighted that he's been able to sponsor this game in which his alma mater has played so well. Don't forget Murphy's Sport Shack. They do a great job for all the high schools that work with them. And want to thank the Murphy brothers for their help today in sponsoring today's game. Trying to air it out, and another interception Mio's going to try to go to the house for the third time today. How about the game that Mio has done?
And that breaks the record for points scored in the game. They're now at 54. They came in with 51 points. There's no flag on the field. They had the most points scored in the Long Island Championship game from 1998. And in 2004, they returned to Hofstra to set another Long Island Championship record, 54, maybe going on to 55.
Extra point try to add the lead, and it is point number 55. And this got to be the most points in a quarter maybe scored, Tom. They were 20, I think it was 21-14, so they've scored, 34 points in this fourth quarter?
You're hitting me in my bad subject area. Mathematics was never a strength of mine, but they certainly have done a lot. And to be honest with you, I was also surprised that Keith was throwing the ball at the end of the game. There's 2 minutes left to go. You come to the Long Island Championship to win a football game. When the game's over, I want to get on the bus and get out of here. He's putting the ball in the air. At this point, only things can go wrong. Wantagh has not played their game today. They just didn't do it. They were supposed to do it, but didn't. So let's just get out of here and go home.
As again we point out, a team that had turned the ball only over 4 times in 10 games had 7 turnovers today, 5 interceptions, and 2 fumbles lost.
And they have been used. Those turnovers have been converted into points by Sayville. So you talk about their offense doing the job. The defense has also made points on their end. Not just stopping Wantagh, but they've turned it into a positive with those turnovers leading to scores, 2 touchdowns.
Right. And what a game Joey Mio has played here today.
He certainly has. I mean, he's had a tremendous game. Sheridan's had a tremendous game. Right down the line, all the guys on the team, they have 371 yards rushing the ball. They have touchdowns on defense, touchdowns on offense, touchdowns through the air, on the ground. They've showed, you name a way to score, they've scored.
30 yards rushing for Wantagh, 371 for Sayville.
Yeah, Wantagh came in averaging 41 points a game and getting it done on the ground, but today they were shut down early and never recovered.
Muscarello had the touchdown return earlier. Will not get away here as he is stopped. And Argentina, number 24, on the tack.
The thing that hurt Wantagh early, too, they had this big-time running game, but they came out in the first series. They threw 3 passes, all incomplete. They tried to isolate Rob Smith one-on-one because they thought that would be a big advantage. But an excellent job by Sayville preparing for that and able to stop Sheridan Smith with a real good defensive plays by Sheridan. Really took away a big weapon for Wantagh. They took that out of the game early.
And I think for Sayville also, Tom, here they had that long 6-7 minute drive to start the game, come up empty. That might frustrate a team, but they came back, they used that ball control later, and they took control of the game.
Just think if they would have scored, the score right now would be 62-14.
No question it would have been a tougher one. Inside, handoff to Procida. This may be his final play. No quitting this guy. Tripped up in the open field. And a nice play that time by Danny Neugebauer. We're talking about the families. The Neugebauer family. His brother Eric played strong safety at Albany. His brother Robbie, we talked about at CW Post. And it's a tradition in Sayville. You go back 3 or 4 generations. They played football for the Golden Flag.
Well, you go to any of those small Long Island towns that have had football for years, and it just grows into families. Ed's a Baldwin guy, in Baldwin. They've had families that go along the South Shore or the North Shore, the small communities. Football is a staple of their life.
And the Neugebauers are cousins of the DeLucas. So you've got the great family tradition. And here's Mr. Procida, tripped up in the open field after he picked up some nice yardage to the 46-yard line. In fact, Danny's uncle, his father, and 2 brothers have all played for Sayville.
But let's talk about Wantagh. When Keith Sachs went there at age 25 in 1993, Wantagh's program was in the dumps, had only 16 players in the varsity. The first year they went 0-8, 30 or 40 fans that show up. They were the parents of the players. When the Wantagh Sports Boosters Club raised $30,000 in 95 to equip the cafeteria, that kind of turned the program around in Wantagh. That was 8 years ago. They even have lights in now, and it's really a big community function in Wantagh. They really get behind their team.
Well, Procida will try to pick up yardage down to the final 15 seconds to go. Well, Keith Sachs, who coached the state championship baseball team, who's had great success. They've had great success, of course, in lacrosse, but they're not going to have the success as their season will end today, getting beaten by Sayville 55-14, and the celebration has begun.
And why not? A very simple game. Sayville able to run the football effectively all day long. Wantagh unable to run the football. And in simple terms, that was the difference in this game.
7 turnovers also figured prominently as well. And that's the story. And Tom Howard, hats off to a very fine job by another young coach, Rob Haas. In his third year, we saw Adam DeWitt in his first year from Longwood come up with the Long Island Championship, and it's nice to see some young blood coming up with those champions.
It certainly is, and Rob has something to build on. Obviously, the Sayville football tradition has been great for years, but now he's taken over. He has a Long Island Championship under his belt. He has kids believing in his system and what he does, and Sayville is going to be around for many years to come. And hey, let's not forget about Keith Sachs and what he's done. He's had a fantastic record. In the 12 years he's been there, the last 5, we said he's like 43, 7-1, and he'll have these Warriors back again. There's no question in the Long Island Championship very soon.
Well, his wife, Suzanne, and little Brooke, a 2-year-old, going to celebrate as the social studies teacher has come to Hofstra, and he knew how to go from east to west, Ed, and it came up with a very impressive victory with his team today.
And basically a direct line. Just run the football, dominate the line of scrimmage, and get it done there. And Sayville really gave us a clinic how to play old-fashioned football, make the turnovers, force the turnovers, run the ball effectively, and dominate the line of scrimmage.
Dan Lippenholtz will be back with our post-game show, and we'll be back after that to wrap it up. You've been watching the LIC Game of the Week. Suffolk now leads Nassau 26-24 in the battle for Long Island football supremacy with 2 more games coming up.
Back, everybody, to Hofstra University. Dan Lippenholtz here on the field with our players of the game. John DeLuca on my right, Matt Messina on my left. John, Matt, we both had you guys here last week when Beth played Wantagh. We have you here again, and what a difference a week makes. You're now the Long Island champions.
Yeah, I'm so pumped right now. I don't know, it hasn't even hit me yet. You know, we came to this game, probably many people say we were the underdog, but we just stuck together as a team, and, we came out with a big win.
John, over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, just another typical day at the office?
Yeah, I got to give it all out to my line, though. They did a great job all season. Also, my 2 fullbacks, Ray Argentina and Joe Mio, great job.
And now on the defensive side of the ball, Matt Messina with 2 interceptions, also had a 50-yard touchdown pass. And Matt, when you play a defensive team like Wantagh, it's really not easy to prepare for them because they like to pass the ball, when you really see in high school.
Right, well, our team, we watched so much film in school. We were so well prepared for this that we knew that if we came out here and did what our coaches taught us, it would just be easy.
And as a senior in your last game as a Sayville football player, this must be really special.
This is something that we've been working hard for since 7th grade, and we knew that we had a special team in the beginning of the year, and we capitalized it.
So keep it here on telecast for the LIC Game of the Week.
Good for Tom Howard, for Ed Ingalls, for Dan Lippenholtz, for the rest of our great crew, Jovial Joe Giannotti, the Wizard, who turned out to be a dud today with his predictions, and for the rest of our crew, Craig Filizzola, Steve Filizzola, cameo appearance by Pistol Pete Cesario in the booth, and for our great cameraman working under some tough conditions, Brian Acapinti, better known as Jedi, and of course, how can we forget the loquacious Frank LaSquadro on camera as well. So for all of us, the very best for a great holiday season. We wind up our football coverage. We'll see you in basketball time in December. Good night, everybody, and thanks for watching High School Sports here on Telecare.
What's up, Long Island? We're the Amityville Cheerleaders. Are you ready for the championships on the rush? Woo!
Yes, we are. The final weekend of the 2004 season is here. Who will be crowned champions? Jason Gwaltney looks to add one more item to his resume. Longwood and Farmingdale had a game for the record books, highlights you don't want to miss, trust me on that. And the small school champions are crowned as 4 undefeated teams went head-to-head. All that plus all 4 winning coaches join us in the studio coming up on the High School Sports Rush. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Welcome to the Sports Rush. Get ready to feast on some championship highlights. I am Michael Coleman. We start off in Class 2, where all season long, Jason Gwaltney said individual achievements come second to his team winning the Long Island Championship. In 4 years at North Babylon, the running back has shattered virtually every Long Island rushing record. However, when the Bulldogs won the title in 2002, Gwaltney was on the injured list. Standing in their way this year, a team that allowed only 48 points all season long, the undefeated defending champions, Garden City. A sellout crowd of more than 8,500 on hand at Laval Stadium yesterday saw Gwaltney steal the show. And he did it on both sides of the ball. 14 seconds in, Steve Carroll looking for something, but is picked off by Gwaltney on the first play of the game. 6 plays later, he finished what he began with a 10-yard score and a very quick 7-0 lead. Still in the first after another North Baptist reception. Ryan Lynch rolls out, hits Gewalt. Yeah, the guy can catch a pass too in the end zone from 10 yards out for a 13-0 lead. And we said he did it on both sides of the ball already with an interception. How about forcing a fumble? All right, here it is. Second quarter, he sacks Carroll. And then the big man, Eddie Hill, runs downhill, scooping it up, rumbles 31 yards for the 29-0 Bulldogs lead. And if you're wondering, Wantagh ran for 237 yards on 40 carries and 5 touchdowns. This is the final one of his great high school football career. And what better way to go out than by signing some autographs that maybe one day will be very, very valuable with your fans after the game. North Babylon wins 43-14, the final of their 6th Long Island championship since 1995. Wantagh leaves Long Island with 7,800 career rushing yards and 135 touchdowns.
It's just a wonderful feeling, man. All my team is just happy. I'm happy. I did it for them. I carried them here, and they helped me, guided me through this whole season.
We knew what we had to do coming into this game. They're a great team, great program. We just came out and did our thing.
2 championship leaders moving on. 2 undefeated teams, 2 high-octane offenses, 2 very stingy defenses. Something had to budge in the Class 3 title game at Hofstra Friday night as Sayville took on Wantagh. After a scoreless first quarter, it was the Golden Flashes offense that called first. John DeLuca caps off a 15-play, 70-yard drive with a 1-yard score for the 7-0 lead. And then it seemed to all fall apart for the Warriors after that. Still in the second, Justin Ciamil lets it fly. Matt Messina, look at this. He grabs it, gets to the end zone from 51 yards out in a 14-0 lead. Wantagh began the next possession on the 1-yard line, but on the first play, James Sheridan intercepted Eric Caracappa at the 8 and returned it for a touchdown. It is now a 21-0 lead. The Warriors cut it 21-6 before the half. That's the way it stayed until the fourth when DeLuca does it again this time for 13 yards and a 28-6 lead. The senior carried the ball a championship record 44 times, 267 yards and 3 TDs. Wantagh could never get their offense going and couldn't stop Sayville either. Junior Joe Mayo joined the fun, adding 2 touchdowns on offense and 1 on defense. As the Golden Flashes complete their first 11-0 season in school history, winning 55-14. The 55 points set a record for the most in a game by one team.
We worked so hard, you know, it didn't start at the beginning of the season. Like, ever since last season ended, we were working 4 to 6 days a week in the weight room, getting stronger, working out on the track, and faster, and it paid off today.
In the Class 4 title game, it was another battle of unbeaten teams as 10-0 Roosevelt met up with 10-0 Amityville. The Rough Riders were here last year but fell short to Babylon, remember? Well, the Warriors looking for their first Class 4 championship after moving down from Class 3. What was supposed to be a battle of running backs turned out to be a battle of defenses. First quarter, Amityville driving, but Darrell Young fumbles. Darrell McClintock recovers down at the 2. So an 8.5-minute Warrior drive ends with no points. 98 yards later, Roosevelt's Marquise Heron, quarterback keeper, hits the end zone. 7-0 Rough Riders. It stayed that way. We're now in the 4th. Amityville looking for something. 4th down, direct step to Young, but watch this. Aaron P. says, no way, not today. That was a big play, folks. It was cold outside, but you know what? This has to be refreshing for Joe Vito and the Rough Riders. Yeah, take a look here. Defense goes on to win it 7-0. The final, McClintock had 44 yards on just 8 carries.
I know Amityville had a great offense, but our defense definitely did a good job this game.
We seniors, you know, we had to come out with a bang, you know. Got to graduate with a big win, and this is it right here.
Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it. Now, the championships weren't the only football games on the island this week. The annual Exceptional Senior Games. One last chance to throw on your pads and show your stuff. This year, though, a new twist. Suffolk versus Nassau. Class 1 and 2 Wednesday night. Freeport's Aaron Valentin shows he can still deliver. Big hit on Riverhead's Jeremy Hobson. Oh, he is seeing stars. First half, 6-0 Nassau. Looking for more. Southside's Tom Pacelli finds Baldwin's Matt Billia. Foot race to the end zone. Billia wins it. 30 yards to the end zone. 13-0 Nassau. And you know what? Even kickers know how to make the highlights. Luke Gaddis from Pat Med. This one into the wind. If you're counting it, 42 yards out. Will he make it? It just gets over. Suffolk down 13-9 at the half. Third quarter now. Suffolk up 3 and looking for more. But Tom Butler says, I am the Butler, and I did it. Not today. 24 yards to the house. Nassau 20-16. Stayed that way until 30 seconds left. Zach Shaggy. Watch what he does, folks. He looks for somebody. He can't find anyone. Decides to take it in for himself. The winning score. That's how Suffolk wins 23-20. Class 3 and 4 on Thanksgiving. Scoreless game in the first when West Hampton's Matt McAllister gets it from 1 yard out, 7-0 Suffolk. Same score in the second quarter when Jimmy Miller finds Babylon's Josh Carlock downfield, 23 yards. Suffolk goes up 13-0. Pat Murray from Harbor Fields was the offensive MVP for Suffolk here, giving his team a 21-0 lead. Yep, Suffolk wins 21-7. Now, if you missed any scores, you don't have to worry. All you have to do is log on to our website, news12.com, for all the scores from around the island, plus complete standings. We're just getting started here on the Sports Rush, the Class 1 showdown. It's never been done once, so imagine how surprised everyone was when it was done 3 times in a row. We'll show you the unbelievable highlights, plus a special season for St. Anthony's. A look back at how it all got started, coming up next on The Rush.
News 12 Long Island is brought to you in part by your local Lincoln Mercury dealer, who invites you to come in and see the full line of Lincolns and Mercurys today.
Now that special SUV you want is gift wrap for you during your Lincoln Mercury dealer's Wish List year-end event, featuring wish list values on the most entertaining SUVs on the planet with a no-charge DVD entertainment system. You can even add Sirius satellite radio. Now get the Lincoln Aviator Luxury Package for $439 a month with a no-charge DVD entertainment system. The Wish List special values are only here for the holidays. See your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Hi, I'm Eric Estrada, and welcome to the most wonderful communities on Florida's Gulf Coast you'll ever see. They're called Northport and Port Charlotte, and they're waiting for you. And I don't mean as a tourist or a visitor, I mean as a property owner. You can leave the big city crime, violence and traffic all behind you and move to these amazing communities for very, very little money.
Every day is paradise down here. It's the most beautiful place on God's earth.
I love it. It's like living in paradise.
As you can see, the beaches are beautiful. You're going to love it.
We love Port Charlotte.
And you better hurry because these properties at the incredible prices on your screen will not last. In fact, the U.S. Census Bureau projects the population of Florida will increase by over 38% by the year 2010. So the time to buy is now. Start planning your future by owning Florida real estate. You'll be glad you did. Now get ready to call that number on your screen because I'm going to tell you about an offer that you won't be able to resist. When you make that call, you will be sent a no-obligation free brochure outlining everything that Northport and Port Charlotte have to offer. If you like what you see, and I know that you will, then we are going to fly you and a guest down here on a free mini vacation to see it for yourself. You heard me right, a free mini vacation. You will get round-trip airfare on a commercial airline for 2, luxurious hotel accommodations, and of course, a no-sales pressure private tour to see our incredible home site. Now, how could you pass up an incredible deal like that? The visit is free, and it's 100% guaranteed. That's how confident we are that when you see these beautiful properties, you will fall in love and never want to leave. So please, do yourself a favor and make that call for a free brochure. You have absolutely nothing to lose. I promise you, you're gonna love it.
It's time for a six-pack or two, our final weekly News 12 Sports Rush Power Rankings for the big schools. The Friars Prince this season on top. Not far behind, we have Bulldogs of North Babylon. Third is the Longwood Lions. In fourth, Garden City, while the Dailers and Eagles finish 5 and 6. Small schools. Give a hand to Rob Haas and Sayville. It's their first time in the top spot. Next, we have the Roosevelt Rough Riders, followed by Wantagh, Amityville, Bethpage, and Hills West. If you don't agree, email us at the new and improved Sports Rush at news12.com. Welcome back to The Rush. It's been an improbable run to the title game in Class 1 for Longwood, a number 5 seed to start the year, and number 3 heading to the playoffs. All the Lions have done is upset Patchogue Medford, and then the top-seeded William Floyd now beat Nassau's best Farmingdale, and they have their first title since 1998. But Kyle Buffet says, I'm on a mission too. And on Dailor's first possession of the game, Buffet kept off a 9+ minute drive, 83 yards worth with a 5-yard touchdown run, 7-0 lead. And hold on to your hats. Now it gets really fun right here, folks. The ensuing kickoff. This is Kevin Bennett. He finds a hole, gets a whole lot more. 86 yards to the HOUSE. The first kickoff return for a score in LI championship history. But wait a minute, history only lasted about 10 seconds because on the ensuing kickoff, Charles Ross rewrites the record books using the sidelines, and no one's going to catch this guy. A 90-yard kickoff return to the end zone. Baylor's up 14-6. And no, this is not a joke. On the next kickoff, Eric Murkison looks like he's going to do it again, but he fumbles. But to the rescue will be teammate Rory Shepard. And he does it the rest of the way. Back-to-back TDs in under 30 seconds. Our crew getting it all. When it was all said and done, Farmingdale led 14-12. Fast forward to the fourth quarter. Lions up 26-23. Brett Wilson adds to it. 6-yard scoring run. He'd add another later in the quarter as the Lions pull off the win, 39-23. Take a look here. Wilson, 22 carries, 193 yards. Again, Farmingdale wins. Longwood wins 39-23. Now, not to be forgotten was the job St. Anthony's did this season. The Friars won their unprecedented fourth consecutive Catholic League championship despite starting the season with a loss. So we had an idea this was going to be a special season at St. Anthony. So we went behind the scenes with the team from day one of practice as they prepared for kickoff 2004. Here is a look at the award-winning 2 weeks to Don Bosco.
We're trying to set a standard here at St. Anthony's that, Long Island kids can play football too. It's a program test, see where you're at.
Right through!
We're ready.
We're going to hit the road running here, fellas. We got 2 weeks to prepare for Don Bosco.
1, 2, 3, 2.
And I don't care what anybody told you.
Right here, go!
They were ranked number 3 in the country last year in USA Today.
34, ready?
Set, go! Let's go to work.
Go!
That's better, Andrew. Go through twice, then go get a rinse.
That's what you look forward to all summer.
We expect our seniors to push the juniors, and I thought they did a great job today doing that.
We just got to keep up the intensity in practice and keep working 100%.
Good. Right there. That's good, Max. That was a great first practice. Great. We're playing a really good football team from New Jersey, one of the best teams in the country, actually.
Let's go, boys, let's go!
So they know that we don't have a lot of time to waste. We're getting there. It's really a rush with playing a game a week from Friday. You guys doing a great job for us. Run! Atta boy!
Most of us just want to play high school football.
300, 3 Scott!
It's like God-given talent.
That's the way to run.
We're very lucky to have that.
Physically, we're there. Mentally, you just got to clean up.
It's a waste of 2 minutes. Take mental reps. This is an evaluation time for us. We're actually thinking about making some cuts after tonight.
Boys, that's a good practice right there.
That's a good practice, fellas.
Yeah!
Steven, take it.
We're going to put you under pressure, and we're going to find out who the guys are that are going to crack. Full tilt now. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Being under these lights feels like a real game.
Check that slant, Max.
Our coaches are just putting us right now in positions to make plays.
3rd and 1.
It's up to us to make the plays, and on Friday we'll find out.
Block the first threat, because otherwise he's going to get run over.
We've been pounding each other for the last, couple of weeks. I'm ready to hit somebody else. I can't wait.
Let's go, baby!
This is the biggest game in the history of our program. Treat it like that.
If we come up victorious on Friday, I can only imagine the feeling I would have and the team would have.
There you go. Good job.
Coming out tonight, it was just like, game time. Like, get ready. Let's go.
That's what we're looking for.
It's just going to be one of the greatest games, I've ever played in.
Stay together, lose together, or win together. But do it together and become a family tonight. Let's go get it.
5,000 fans. Home field, under lights, Friday night. How can you not get excited?
Baby, let's go! You guys can play with these guys. Let's go now.
Let's go,
We made a couple of big mistakes. No, you can't do that against a team like that. He's pitching the ball with 2 hands.
I'm a little disappointed. We left the heart on the field.
I would rather lose to a quality team like that than go beat some cream puff.
No one's kidding themselves. This is a great team.
Our goal has always been the Catholic High School Football League Championship, so this is just a minor setback. Nice game.
Again, the Friars won their 4th straight state championship in the Catholic League, and also that was a championship piece put together by producer Andrew Rappaport and photographer Mike Del. Still to come on the Sports Rush. Hey, we don't mess around. We'll hear one more time from all of the winners of championship football right here on the Sports Rush.
I'm Anthony Beck for the New York Jets, and you're watching the Sports Rush on News 12 Long Island.
New Yorkers have a history of working together, and the Oneida Indian Nation is a New York success story, creating over 4,000 jobs and more than $100 million in annual payroll that goes right back to our communities. Now, Governor Pataki wants to let Oklahoma tribes open casinos here and take profits back to Oklahoma, hurting New Yorkers. Call the governor. Tell him we need to do what's best for New York, not Oklahoma.
BMW Holiday Sales Drive. Lease the 2005 BMW 325i for $299 a month, only through January 3rd.
I'm not happy with my shower door, and the dealer won't fix it. You should have gone to the shower door.
Just call 516-26-GLASS or 631-421-SHOWER for quality tub and shower doors installed for as little as $280. All shower doors come with a 1-year guarantee on installation and service for a lifetime. Our Huntington and Massapequa locations welcome you to visit our newest location in Greenvale. Open Sundays. Call 421-SHOWER, 26-GLASS or 484-SHOWER.
As you get older, your body changes, and one way to tell is how well you sleep.
So we count on the mattress professionals at Sleepy's to keep us comfortable.
For over 45 years, Sleepy's has found us the perfect mattress.
At the best price, too, thanks to Sleepy's incredible price guarantee.
That's why we've always been Sleepy's customers. Our kids are, and their kids will be, too.
I mean, why shop anywhere else?
Trust Sleepy's for the rest of your life.
News 12 Long Island is brought to you in part by Long Island's elder law firm, David Howe, Siegel, and Stern.
Hello, Long Island Champion Lions! Welcome back to the Rush!
Welcome back to the Sports Rush. We are talking championship, and joining us in the Sports Rush studio, we have Adam DeWitt of Longwood, Terry Manning of North Babylon, Robert Haas of Sayville, and Joe Vito Roosevelt, all championship coaches. Thank you guys for joining us, and congratulations, because I know it was not easy at all. You guys just make it look easy. Coach DeWitt, we had you in last week. You had a great win over Farmingdale, a team that we know how good they are. What was your evaluation of them going into that championship game?
Yeah, not many people gave us a chance. They're much bigger than we are up front, and you know, Coach Krummenacher had been there 4 years in a row. But our kids believed in what we were saying, and you know, we obviously had to match up with them up front. I think our D-line did a good job, and you know, Brett Wilson had another big game, so it was a lot of fun. The kids deserve it.
Coach Vito, you at Roosevelt had a pretty good game, a defensive ball game. Do you like those kind of games?
No, not particularly. But I thought it might be more like a track meet, because I knew they had an offensive force. But you know, our defense was swarming. Our kids made a commitment from a year ago when we lost in the Long Island Championship game, and you know, they brought their dream to reality.
They being Amityville, a very determined ball club. Congratulations. And Coach Manning, here you had a big gun, Mr. Jason Gewaltney. Talk about how special this player is, not so much what he can do on the field, but the intangibles of being a leader around the team.
Well, he's had the opportunity to watch great backs perform, Barry Baker and Omar Palmer, kids that he knew growing up. And Jason's just phenomenal in the school and in the community, always down to Little League fields, helping the kids out. A lot of times at the end of the games, kids come up there and want his autograph. I think he's just promoted northbound football and Long Island football very well.
Now, you don't replace a guy like that, do you?
I hope we can sometime, but no, I don't think so. He's just, on the field, football takes care of itself, but he's really grown his maturity has really improved the last couple of years, and he's becoming a man.
Yeah, he's a very special player. Meanwhile, Coach Haas, a pretty good win, 55-14, a cakewalk, but you don't go in thinking the game is going to be like that for a championship caliber, do you?
No, not at all, especially going in against Wantagh, who, pretty much took care of business in Division III, and they had so many different weapons. We felt pretty confident that we could win the game, but, 55-14 was it was a little bit of a surprise.
When you have a championship caliber team like all the four of you do, what I want you to address is how you have to keep their feet planted on the ground when the success is happening during the season. How do you keep them, focused?
Well, during the season there are some highs and lows, but for us, we just preach to kids we want to get better each day. Forget about who your opponent is, but just make sure that every day in practice that, you get better each day. Because, sometimes you do play opponents who might be a little lesser caliber, but we just tell our kids you want to get better each day, and then, everything else on Saturday will take care of itself.
Coach Vito, I know with athletics, there's also academics. Can sometimes the academic part be a headache because maybe you have a kid, and maybe not you personally, but maybe you have a kid that doesn't understand that they have to take care of their business in the classroom?
Well, we have a policy that addresses that. Our athletic department has progress sheets. So if anybody's having academic problems, they're on a daily sheet where the teachers have to sign and let us know how their progress is each day. And in our situation, it's worked very well. Our kids their averages have been raised because of it.
Coach Manning, how do they balance academics and athletics?
We also have an eligibility requirement. They have to carry around a sheet for the football team. We demand the kids go to extra help every day for 40 minutes at the end of the school, and they must bring us a pass, and on the pass what work was completed. If they don't have a pass for extra help, they don't play that week. And it took, at the beginning, it was kind of rough to get that plan going, but now it's done very well for us. We don't lose kids because of eligibility problems.
Well, I really want to get that out because sometimes folks underestimate what the coaches, they think they're just about X's and O's and not taking care of their business. I want to get that out. Meanwhile, Coach DeWitt, now, championship, how quickly do you have to bring another one back to the school?
We're going to enjoy this one for a while before we start to worry about next year. It was a long season. The kids worked very hard, and we're happy to have a Long Island championship.
How key is support, win or lose, during a football season or any athletic season?
Our parents and our administration at Longwood have been extremely supportive, first-year head coach, and without them it wouldn't have been possible. So I feel very fortunate to be a part of such a supportive community.
Coach, you talk about also the support from the community and the school itself, if you could.
Right. Well, we have a booster club who is extremely supportive. From going back into the off-season, they help us buy weight training equipment and stuff for running and agility. And pretty much any time during the season, if I've asked for anything, they've been very supportive. They've never said no. And our athletic director and administration just pretty much support us all around, as well as the fans. So we have a real good situation at Sayville. Proud to be a part of it.
Coach Vito, you being in Nassau, I know they tried an experiment with the expansion of playoffs. Did it work?
Well, we're going to reevaluate it at our next meeting. And I don't know if we said did it work because the top 4 teams out of the 8 still made it to the playoffs. So I'm not sure what we were trying to accomplish, but if the top 4 teams were going to make it, then I don't know if you want to say it worked.
It kind of has a Davy and Goliath type of concept, or the NC2A basketball championship where the little guy gets a chance to show what they can or cannot do. Sometimes I would imagine, from a coach's perspective, that can be kind of demoralizing to some players who don't have the confidence level up yet.
Well, most teams that were in the, if you want to say the second level, they enjoyed it, and they thought no matter what the score of the game was, they felt that their kids would be able to rise up and get up for a game against whoever it was.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us. And Coach Manning, one question for you I have, and that is, I know you've had one heck of a season, one heck of a career. What do you do for an encore?
We're just going to watch the film tomorrow, make some corrections on some of the things the kid did wrong, and get right back in the weight room on Tuesday.
Okay, hey guys, thank you very much. Congratulations. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That wraps up the 2004 Long Island High School football season. A great season by all. It also wraps up a special season for the coaches here. One more round of congratulations to the champions, Longwood, North Babylon, Sayville, Roosevelt, and St. Anthony's in the Catholic League. Up next, basketball, wrestling, and a whole lot more sports during the wintertime. I'm Michael Coleman. Thank you for watching Sports Rush. We'll leave you tonight with a look at the North Babylon kick line in action. See you next week, everyone.
I didn't get it.